We let me share the screen. Number one, share. Let me
and I see it on YouTube, so I'm going to mute and turn it over to you. Son, we have 9 guests watching, and I see that we're still waiting on Antonio.
Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Public Works Virtual Information Meeting. Stop share. And my name is Wusan Francois, and I'm the Public Works Project Manager. I would like to introduce our Public Works Director, Antonio Valenzuela.
Good evening, everybody. And first of all, Rusan, can we verify if we have enough audience in the meeting, or do we need to start, or do we need to wait for a couple of minutes more or so?
I'm showing 12 online, Antonio, including Councilmember Willis.
Okay. Let's give it another 3 minutes, and let's start at 6:35, so we might have more audience. If you don't mind, will that be okay?
Yes. All right. Meeting will start in 1 minute. Again, good evening. Welcome to the Public Works virtual information meeting. Tonight meeting is a presentation on two TSPLOST project. The first one being the Welcome Mall at Carlboro Road, and the other project is the intersection of Welcome Mall Road at Gillette Road. I would like to introduce our Public Works Director, Mr. Antonio Valenzuela.
Good evening, Councilwoman Willis and residents of the city of South Fulton. Yeah, it is my pleasure to be part of this very important meeting on two projects for the city of South Fulton. We have two good teams under design contracted by the city of South Fulton. Those two projects are being funded through TSPLOST projects, and we're here tonight to receive and share with you what we have found at those particular intersections, and as well as to receive your comments and being able to work with you moving forward. I would like to start with the meeting and introduce the City of South Fulton staff that we have online tonight. It is Mr. Roussan Francois, our program manager, and our consultants under design contract with the city, which is American Engineers and Atlas consultants for the city. With that said, I would like to, if you don't mind, start with the first project under the Welcome Mall at Scarborough Road, and allow Mr. Tom to proceed with the presentation and the introduction of his company.
Yes, thanks, Antonio.
Tom, go ahead. You may take over.
Yep, I'm trying to share here. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. First project I'd like to discuss is the Welcome All Road at Carlboro Road intersection improvement project. I have a fact sheet in front of me here, just to get you some information on the project. So the proposed project is to improve safety and add capacity. We did, during our conceptual studies, we did study 3 alternates for this project. The first alternate was the no build. That was the leave 4-way stop as is. The second alternative we looked at was to remove the 4-way stop and to review a conventional intersection with a traffic signal. Unfortunately, a traffic signal was not warranted for the 20-year plus 2-year design, which would be 2043. So adding a signal, we can't. So that didn't meet the need and purpose. So we reviewed a third option, which is popular by demand, is the roundabout. So we chose the preferred alternate at this point is preferred roundabout. And so that removes the 4-way stop. It keeps traffic flowing. It improves safety by reducing the conventional conflict points from 32 points for your eye to see. It reduces it down to 8 so that it's safer. It improves capacity. It also provides improved aesthetics for the area. It also improves lighting for the job as well. So lighting always makes it safer. So the proposed design speed, I have them listed there for Welcome All Roads, 40, Scarborough's 45. The traffic data, just for information purposes only here. This is the average daily traffic. You can see for the current, which is this year, Welcome All has got about 7,300. Scarborough Road's 2,100. And the design year for our projects is always, +2 years out from the 2023 build. Then you add 20 years to that, so 2043. So we feel that when we start construction, this if it is the right alternate with the roundabout, they take about 12 months to build for a single lane roundabout. We'll skip over to cost at this time because that's just conceptual at this point. And we will in 2022, we will be required to purchase some easements and some right-of-way, and that's for 2022. We do have 9, we call them parcels, so we have to have, we'll be purchasing some land and easement from 9 property owners. Then construction will be in 2023. So with that said, I'd like to go ahead and jump into our layout. And just to get everybody acclimated to this is an aerial photo, okay? So you can see my pointer. So I'm pointing, this is Scarborough Road right here. This is Welcome All here, and this is Welcome All here as well. And so this is the purple lines that you see, that's the existing edge of pavements. This is the Jehovah Witnesses Church, and we have a large industrial site here. So you can see this is our proposed roundabout. The roundabout's going to have, again, it's going to have lighting. It's going to have sidewalks all the way on each quadrant. Between the sidewalk and the edge of pavement, we'll have curb and gutter. We'll also have a concrete red stamped brick, and that'll be for low maintenance. So this entire intersection here is handicap accessible. So you can see this is where your crosswalks are. So we have some handicap ramps here, and we have this line right here is your traffic islands. Splitter, so we have 4 splitter islands. And this is the way we laid out the roundabout is we did a left-centered approach. And when you do left-centered approach, it's easier to get into the roundabout. And for these roundabouts, they are designed for about 22 to 25 miles per hour. This will keep traffic moving. Let's see if okay, so the other thing I'd like to note is during our study, when we did study for the safety of this project, from 2014 to 2019 at this intersection, there was actually 35 recorded accidents. So again, a roundabout will minimize the accidents. But this is a single lane roundabout. That was all that was required. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and introduce some questions for this first project. And I think, Ben, aren't you going to field the questions, I think?
That's correct. I'll monitor. So if anyone has a question, they can type it into the chat box. And as they come in, I will read them off. And I'll also read some of just the comments. First comment says, I can't wait for our roundabout at Cedar Grove and at Rivertown. And we appreciate that. And let you know we're working on that. But this meeting is about Welcome All at Scarborough. Have any questions, and I will work to get the link in which you can, if you don't want to ask a question here, if you think about something later, you can provide comments on the website. I think we'll probably leave it open for 10 days. Is that correct, Rusan, Antonio?
Yes.
Yes, and also this presentation will be under the Public Works website. So it will be available for anybody that wants to see it after this meeting and being able to pick up the link and provide comments to us. But while having our residents being looking into the project, Tom, can you talk a bit more on what happens to all type of vehicles that goes through the roundabout that perhaps we have uh, solid waste trucks that are very common now in our city. We have school buses, we have fire trucks just next to Walkable, getting closer to Roosevelt Highway. Can you just share with our residents on how those vehicles go through the roundabouts and what did you design and compass to accommodate those types of vehicles?
Yeah, no, thanks, Antonio. That's no problem. So I zoomed into this roundabout, and again, these roundabouts are being popular at the moment. So, and I've been out here before with it does have some truck volumes. A truck will, and there's one that's posted here that says no trucks allowed, but just say we have a vehicle, or for that matter. So you'll be going south here, and if a semi truck has to turn, he'll be coming in here. He'll have to yield. First thing, actually, when you come up here, you have 8 points of conflict. The first point of conflict is your pedestrian crossing here. So you will have to yield for pedestrians. If there's no pedestrians there, then you come up here to your yield. You will have to yield for oncoming traffic here. So if you don't have any traffic, you come on out. Then the trucks, this is actually designed for a large WB67. It will come around here, and so this black area here is your travel lanes. They're wider than the traditional 12 feet. They're 20-foot wide of pavement here, but for large trucks, their trailer end up not going onto the pavement here. We have a truck apron here that they'll use, so residents won't drive on this again. That's the trailer, and they'll be coming out this way here. So again, there's 8 points of conflict, one here. There's for each approach. You got two basically because of the pedestrians. But single lane roundabouts are easy to maneuver. The traffic volumes didn't warrant a bypass lane. But also, every roundabout's unique. This has a Jehovah Witness church. We ended up doing a cutout for their driveway. So if you're coming to Jehovah Witnesses, you would go around the roundabout and you can come in here. So we did a median opening here, and you can come out this way as well. Other than that, it's pretty simple.
So in other words, Tom, what we're conveying to our residents is that fire trucks, bus trucks, solid waste trucks that are allowed on our roads will easily and in a safely way maneuver through the proposed roundabout.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got some questions coming in, and I know that we've addressed them, but some of the people were typing and while you were talking and so forth. And so we'll just make sure we address it. It says, Ms. Glenda Collins asked, will the roundabout accommodate for additional growth in the area, and will it accommodate large trucks? And as you just explained how the trucks will maneuver through. And if you would please go back to your first slide where you showed the 20-year projection in traffic. So the answer is yes, we will accommodate for additional growth. A Jay Horn asked, have you notified the 9 homeowners for the easements?
So we have not, we're still in, we call it conceptual, meaning that we haven't developed any plans yet. So the next step is for us to respond to all these comments in writing. If we don't get any negative comments, it will go a lot smoother. So then if we don't get any negative comments. If the preferred is the roundabout, in January, we'll be cut loose to do our plans. And it'll take us about 60 days to do preliminary plans. Then we'll go through a field plan review. The city will review our plans and we'll go back and forth in some meetings. Then at that point, we'll do some right-of-way plans, and it'll take us about 2 weeks to do those. Then Ben, that was just on the meeting just now, his firm actually buys the right-of-way. So at that point, so I would say in the middle of 2022, we'll be knocking on the doors of those 9 property owners. And with 9 property owners, it probably will take us about 6 months to come to terms with all the property owners. Then we can go out to construction after that.
Tom, if you don't mind, just explain them what those red boxes are, where you have labeled it, those 9 parcels that we're looking into. Not necessarily is the entire parcel. You just identify those 9 parcels that will be impacted somehow. Some will be minor and some may be a bit more minor.
You can see here's the existing right of way here, this white line style that I call it here. Okay, so that's the existing right of way. The red right here is required right of way, because we have to be able to, if we have sidewalks, we can't just put that on your property without, it has to be on the city property. So this is
zoom in a little bit, please, Tom?
Say it again.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, it's going to get blurry on us, unfortunately. Right. So that may not do us any good. So this is parcel 1. Okay, so then they got a little bit blurry here, a little bit here. So here's another parcel here. So this is existing right of way, but we feel like we're going to have to buy some easements to be able to construct this. But you can see that the sidewalks is not going to be, it's going to be within the existing right of way. So we can just purchase, we call them temporary easements from this property owner here, and probably this one here as well. So just so on and so forth. Here's parcel 9. So we're not taking much property. It's pretty minimal on this particular project.
Let's see here. Another question. Let's see here. Says, will this roundabout mirror the roundabout at Sandtown? And
let me address that. The roundabout on Sandtown, it's I assume they're making reference to the Campbellton Road at Boat Rock and New Hope roundabout, which is a similar approach, but not necessarily a mirror of the roundabout. Campbellton is a state route, has higher speeds, it's 2 lanes, it has a bypass and others, and it has also 3 roads into it, while this one has 2 roads.
And that one has a much larger footprint than what this one will have.
Yeah, I would also say that all these roundabouts, there's not really a cookie cutter. They're always customized, and because we try to reduce the footprint as much as we can in construction.
Let's see here. Another question that you've kind of discussed, and Antonio may want to speak to it, says, are 18-wheelers allowed? And I'll take a crack at it. These are not truck routes. Welcome All and Scarborough are not. City ordinance requires that trucks not use these routes. However, there are occasions when tractor trailers may need to be in the area in case, in case of a moving truck or someone, it is allowable for a tractor trailer making a local delivery to use it, and the roundabout will be designed to accommodate it, as Tom stated previously. But these routes are not truck routes.
That's correct, man.
All right. There was a comment, said the design looks nice. We appreciate it. It says, is there a potential for additional landscaping, trees, etc.?
It's always our desire to enhance our project and blend it with our community. I think there's room on the green area on the roundabout. And it's something that as the project progresses, we'll put a few things down there that is allowable within engineering practices.
And Ms. Willis addressed the issue about the restricted truck traffic, but says that trucks do ignore the signs from time to time. But there are also occasions when it is acceptable for trucks. So let's see here. It says, let's see, there's a question here. I'm not sure exactly what they're asking. It says, is there any type of traffic plan for Jones Road?
On Jones Road, I imagine we're discussing about Jones Road and 92 or Campbellton Fairburn Road. If that is the location that it's been meant to be on the CHAD, yes, there is a plan of action actually being managed by Georgia DOT. We have two roundabouts next to each other on Campbellton, Fairburn, Jones, and DeMooney.
And then we also, Antonio, we also have the one at Stonewall Tail and Jones Pittman.
That's correct. Yes, we have a very close proposed roundabout at that location as well.
And so there's a clarification. Yes, they were asking about Jones at 92. And so that one, absolutely. Now that is a GDOT, as Antonio said, that's a GDOT managed project. And that will be probably more similar to the one that's on Campbellton at Boat Rock. Let's see here. There's a question regarding, it says, I apologize if I missed it, but when will the notice to proceed be given on construction? And what is the expected completion date? That comes from Mr. Jackson, Alvin Jackson.
Yeah, it's good to have the dialogue. It's good to promise and being aggressive. And the nature of public works for the city of South Fulton is to ensure that what we commit is what we're going to build, and ensure that our consultants and contractors stay within the timelines committed. However, there are certain circumstances that are not under our control, such as once we go into the stage of acquiring the rights of way, apparently 9 parcels, it should be an easy task for us. And I will hope that our residents work with us. And if we successful acquire the needed areas for this project, we'll definitely be on the schedule. Our goal is 2023. And our goal to construct this project, it is 12 months. We probably can do in 10 months or so, but it's all upon other constraints that are not under our control.
We have a question here from Ms. Glenda Collins. Says, will the city of South Fulton be responsible for maintenance, and were meetings held with the residents of the area?
Yes, the city of South Fulton will be responsible for maintaining. Those two roads are local roads, and we will be responsible for maintaining those the rights way for the improvement of that area.
Okay. Here's one says, how much additional lighting will the design bring?
Additional lighting.
Lighting.
Oh, lighting. Street lighting. Our consultant team will work with the proper power company. They will design, as they are the ones in charge of designing street lights, and our company will provide the layout to them, and they will be provided to us. But the intention is to light it, the four legs of the roundabout.
I believe that gets us caught up with the questions relative to this project.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing and introduce Brad on for the intersection, the second one for tonight.
You're muted, Brad.
You need to unmute, Brad.
We can see your display fine.
Okay, you see me and hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Okay, again, thanks, Tom. I'll go ahead and introduce my team. My name is Brad Hale. I'm with Atlas Technical Consultants. I'm the project manager for the Welcome All Road intersection at Gillette Road. I've also got along with us tonight Mr. David Fairley. He's our traffic engineer who did our traffic analysis for this project, including 2 alternatives. And then Ms. Nebiat Abraham, who's our lead designer for the job. Let's see, as far as the project, I'll just go ahead and run through. Again, this is a fact sheet similar to what Tom went over on the Scarborough intersection. With this one, Welcome All Road at Gillette is it's an existing T intersection. With Welcome All Road is the through roadway, and Gillette Road dead ends basically into Welcome All Road. The purpose of this project, very similar to the last one, is to improve the operational and safety issues, primarily the safety issues at the intersection of Welcome All and Gillette. In the last 3 years, we've had 11 crashes at this intersection, 5 crashes in year 2020 alone, which is significant given the low volume of traffic through this intersection. The speed design of the roadways, Welcome All Road, and both roadways are currently 2 lanes. There are no existing turn lanes at the intersection. Welcome All Road is 45 miles per hour, and Gillette Road is 35 miles per hour. The traffic data, again, is provided FYI here. Current year, about 5,500 vehicles on Welcome All Road and a little over 500 on Gillette Road. Next line, design year, that's actually incorrect. It says 2023. That's actually 2043. And I think Tom explained this with his project. The design year traffic is basically the projected traffic volumes 20 years from the expected opening date. So the projected traffic volumes are roughly about 36 5% higher than existing. And this takes into account, existing and future land use. So you can see here on Welcome All about 7,600 vehicles and Gillette about 700 vehicles per day. The construction time for the project, once it's let to construction, is approximately 6 months, with a construction cost of just over $1 million estimated. The right-of-way, I'll point this out in more detail on the display, but the existing right-of-way is on Welcome All Road is approximately 50 feet wide. We have right-of-way and easement needed from 2 parcels. One parcel will be a total take, but we're showing here 0 displacements. So the parcel that's a total take is undeveloped. The other 2 parcels will just be minor additional right-of-way and easements for construction. The project schedule, we're showing both right-of-way acquisition and construction in fiscal year 2022, which we're actually in now. Fiscal year 2022 runs from June of 21 to June of 22. So we hope to have the right-of-way underway soon, and then the construction before the end of the fiscal year. I'll move on to the project display page. And this is set up very similar to Tom's. He just explained. I'll run over it again quickly, but first I'm going to switch over to, I've got the layout, kind of a higher resolution version here that we can see a little better detail. So the gray represents our proposed construction area. These purple lines are outlines of the existing roadways. Then we have, you can see this yellow represents proposed sidewalks. Just like Tom's, we have some, these red lines represent required right-of-way that's necessary for the project. And then this hatched green areas represent construction easements that are needed for construction. So this configuration, the existing intersection has a really bad, what we call skew angle at the intersection. That angle is roughly 36 degrees. The proposed project would realign Gillette Road to have a much better intersection angle with Welcome All Road. I think that is improved to 80 degrees. In addition to improving the geometry, which improving that geometry helps with not just operational, but with safety. You don't have cars coming to this intersection, this stop sign, and then having to look back over their shoulder. It's easier to see traffic coming from the oncoming direction. But then we also add turn lanes, and we improve the intersection radii. So trucks and larger vehicles, buses making these turns, today they're having to make this, this pretty hard turn. And with the improved intersection angle and the better turning radii, the larger vehicles will have easier time making the turns. Let's see. And I mentioned there were 3 parcels that were impacted, and we have those labeled here. The first parcel is the parcel that's right at the existing intersection. We just have a small area of driveway easement What we're proposing at this point with our concept is to take that driveway, since Gillette Road is realigned away from parcel 1, we would take that driveway and run it basically along the existing or the old Gillette Road, and then tie it in further up on the relocated Gillette Road. We prefer to do that over tying it in closer to the intersection, so you're further away and it's easier to get in and out, and not having to get across the multiple lanes of traffic. Then parcel number 2 is this, what I mentioned before, is the parcel that'll be a total take. It's a triangular wedge of land that's undeveloped, that the proposed realignment of Gillette will go directly through. And let's see here. I'm sorry, I said 3, we have 4. So parcel number 3, again, we have some easements and just a sliver of additional required right-of-way. This light blue dashed line represents the existing right-of-way. The red line is where the required right-of-way would be. So it's just a few feet, and then some additional construction easement beyond that. Same thing on the other side, which is what we're calling parcel 4. And then other than that, on the south, running along the southwestern side of the intersection is the CSX Railroad. The railroad's right-of-way actually overlaps the existing pavement of Welcome All Road. So we'll be coordinating with the railroad, for the remainder of the project. On this side, on the railroad side, we're not proposing to add curb and gutter or sidewalk in order to reduce impacts within the railroad's right-of-way. Everywhere else on the north and east side of the improvements, we're proposing to add curb and gutter and a 5-foot sidewalk. This intersection will remain a stop condition with a stop sign, and that was a result of our intersection analysis. Actually, what's called an intersection control evaluation that was done on this intersection. And I'm going to let David Fairley, our traffic engineer, give just a real quick synopsis of what that intersection control evaluation is, and how we came up with our results in this solution.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Well, I don't have any screen to share, so I'm just gonna explain it verbally. The ICE evaluation that we do is a process that we use to help improve to help develop different recommendations for the intersection. And the purpose is to provide traceability, transparency, consistency, and accountability when we identified which solution we're going to end up implementing at the intersection. So part of the process involves taking into consideration, things like crashes that occurred at the intersection, how the different solutions or the different designs are going to address these types of crashes. Some solutions have a more impact on certain types of crashes than others. We also consider the cost of the solution, and right-of-way impacts, among other things. Utilities, all those things. And at the end, the process gives a rating or a score to each of the alternatives, and that kind of gives us an idea of which solution is the better one to go with when all things are equal. So for this one, we considered 2, which was this one, which is adding turn lanes and making the angle of the intersection more of a right angle, and the other one was Roundabout. We didn't consider what's it called, a traffic signal because the warrants are not met. Basically, there's not enough vehicle movements or vehicle volumes to justify putting a signal there. And there's all sorts of problems that come up when you implement a signal at an intersection that's not warranted, where it's not warranted. So the two, like I said, the two alternatives that we evaluated were the one that came out as preferred, which is the one that's on screen, and the roundabout, which mostly for cost and also for similar impact on safety. It ended up being, not the preferred. So we're going with a regular T intersection with turn lanes. I think that's about it. That's what wraps up what the IS evaluation is about. I'll give the mic back to Brad now.
David, can
Yeah.
you explain a bit more for transparency of our residents and on the counts that we have on Welcome All and going into Gillette Road,
Mhm.
and the reason of the short right turn from Gillette into Welcome All. So those will be pretty much the addition besides the moving the intersection to almost a 90-degree angle.
So, well, regarding the volumes, we conducted counts in June. I think it was June 24th. It was a Thursday. And since school was not in session, then we had to do a trip generation study for the school, which is basically, figuring out how many vehicles come in and out of the school and at what times, and taking that into account, adding those trips to the count that we did in June. With those counts, we were able to determine what the length of that right turn lane is. I think that was your question, how we determined what length that right turn needed to be.
That's correct, David.
Yeah, so we do a queue analysis to try to figure out what's the expected length of the line of cars that's going to be queuing up at the stop sign, and how many of those are going to be turning right versus turning left. So with those calculations, we can find out what the appropriate length for that lane is, so that we don't make it too long and spend unnecessary funds in more pavement, or too short that it doesn't accommodate the number of cars that are trying to make the turn.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I think that pretty well covers what we're proposing to do at this intersection. Again, this one, little simpler intersection than Tom's. But yes, just this improvement to the geometry, adding the turn lanes will improve the operations of the intersection and should improve safety as well. So we're excited about the project. Antonio, anything else you need me to point out or discuss on the concept?
Brad, I think you have covered most of the items that we can share with our residents at the conceptual level. With that said, I would like to open up for questions that hopefully we have lots of questions that we can discuss with our residents, and I'll turn it loose to Ben.
All right. And just to let you know, we now have 30 residents or 30 viewers watching. I have not yet received, I don't believe we've received any questions on Gillette. There was a question, I believe it probably goes back to Welcome All at Scarborough. It says, is it possible that prior to entering the roundabout, you can add ridges, slow, caution markers, mini bumpers on all 4 roads to alert the drivers to slow? And so I'll let you address traffic calming, Antonio.
Sure. Now let me see if I can address that, but Tom, are you around?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, let's address all the signage that will be installing ahead of the roundabout.
Yeah.
That pretty much pedestrian crossing, posted speed limit, roundabout ahead. Please.
Yeah, we'll have 2 advanced warning signs of the roundabout, which will be, roundabout ahead. Then we'll put a posted, like a 20 miles per hour speed limit there that goes around it. Usually during the day, everybody can see the roundabout. It's at nights when you got to be careful. And some counties and cities don't light them for preference, but as Antonio stated earlier, these will be lit. Then, there will be a lot of signing and marking. We hinge on the Georgia Department of Transportation with all their standards and details. So all these are really signed similar. So all these TSPLOST 1 projects that Antonio's designing, they all will be signed very similar.
And not to close the excessive signs that we can put, all the roundabouts nationwide, they are always into the motion of enhancing those things. The good thing on a roundabout is that we can always add more things as we need, and that will be in a case by case needed. Ben, any more questions? As we have,
I'm monitoring and I do not see any questions relative to Gillette.
as we are getting more residents, Rusan, can you bring it back the last part of the presentations where we have the address where they can provide their input back to us if they're not able to do it tonight?
Yes. Let me share the screen.
And I'm just going to ask that to please ensure when you provide your comments back to us that you pick up the right project so that we can address properly and respond to you to the specific questions. If it is for Welcome All at Scarborough Road, we have Mr. Frable with American Engineers. And if it is for Welcome All at Gillette Road, we got Mr. Hale with Atlas. And ensure that we receive your comments or questions to the specific projects. These presentations are going to be posted under the City of South Fulton Public Works website until the closing date of comments. We will love to have your comments no later than December 23rd, so we can have a response back to you and our council as early as possible on the first couple of weeks of January. So if you have missed any of the presentation, or if you have any comments or questions, you will have the chance to look at what it was presented tonight for both projects.
I'm working on posting the links and with the intersections, but as you said, I mean, there'll be other opportunities if they go on and when they follow this link, it should get them to the right location for adding the comments. Let's see here, 1 second. It says, will there be sidewalks added at Gillette?
Yeah, so the answer is yes, but on the side opposite the railroad only. So we'll add a 5-foot sidewalk, and let me go ahead and share my screen again. just so I can show it. So sidewalks will be added on the northeast side of Welcome All Road. You can see them here, they're kind of patterned in yellow. And up Gillette Road to the end of our project. The project limit on Gillette Road is about 500 feet or so from the existing intersection. And then wrapping around, tying in at the end of the project on Welcome All Road, just before we get to this, we're showing is parcel number 4. But no curb and gutter or sidewalks proposed on the CSX Railroad side.
And another question regarding accommodating the roundabout, accommodating trucks and just in case they missed it, Tom, would you explain again how we designed for, but not necessarily that now we designed for trucks, but trucks are not necessarily allowed on those roads?
Yeah, no problem. So the way these roundabouts are, every roundabout's unique, as we discussed earlier, and every one of them has a different radius, meaning or diameter. Okay. Yeah, you can zoom into that if you want to. So this particular one, you know, we try to size them as small as we can, so it can cut the cost and it can cut the impacts to property owners. But they do have to be sized so a truck can maneuver around it, because if a truck came up to this, couldn't maneuver around it, they'd have to back up, you know, a quarter mile, half mile, mile. So we don't want that to happen. So these roundabouts always have about 20 feet of pavement, which is in the black. But for a truck to maneuver around them, they can use, which is the red, which is what he's drawing right there now. That is the truck apron. So the rear tires of the trailer will utilize that to get around the roundabout. So if you didn't have that apron, you would have to make the roundabout a lot larger, which would impact parking lots, things like that. So that's what and also the truck apron also was there for safety for inexperienced, you know, not vehicle drivers, but, you know, school bus drivers. They can't make the turn their first time. They probably all had lessons learned and they'll hug that truck apron. But we will make it friendly for the truck drivers. They used to make them 4 inches above the asphalt, and it'd be, you know, it would shake the trailer, shake the, you know, whatever they're hauling. So these roundabouts, everybody's moved down to a 3-inch lip. Some have used 2-inch lip, but on all these, we use a 3-inch lip. So they will accommodate a large truck to go through them.
I do not see any additional questions coming in.
Ben, do you mind looking into if we have any more elected officials for the city of South Fulton that I would like to acknowledge it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't see. On the YouTube, it does not show actually who is joined unless they
Okay.
actually add a comment. And so with that being said, if we do have any officials on, if you would type in the chat box that you're in and let the residents know, and I can let Antonio know as well. We did get another question that says, are bicycle lanes in the scope?
Know which job they're referring to?
It doesn't matter. Neither one of them have dedicated bicycle lanes. So
That's correct. And primary reason is that at this point, we don't have dedicated bicycle routes. We don't want to compromise our residents, putting them on a small stretch of bicycle routes and then not having a proper continuation of bicycle lanes that might be on road or off road. But it is something that in the near future, it can be considered for dedicating or coming up with plans for bicycle lanes throughout the city of South Fulton.
But Brad, maybe you and Tom can both chime in. Now, within the limits of the projects, are we using 12-foot lanes as the standard for our typical lane width?
Let's see. I'm going to ask Nebiat to respond to this, but I believe on ours, we have 11-foot lanes. Is that correct, Nebiat? You're on mute.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I believe that is probably due to the constraints of the railroad. Is that?
The standard will allow you to have 11.
Okay.
In the roundabout, you know, the lane widths will vary just for that type of, you can't just say, you know, we probably use a minimum of 12 feet, but you got all them splitter islands. You got to look at the truck turning around there. So you can't really say that the roundabout has a standard travel lane, unfortunately.
We definitely want to take the opportunity to receive as many comments as you may have. And that's the reason that we dedicate this time for our residents so that we can be aware of how can we do better for the city of South Fulton. Ben, can you advise if we are dropping out residents or are we having more residents?
Currently, we're at 27. A few minutes ago, we had as many as 32. And so we do have a number that are starting to drop off. And before you do, we appreciate your spending the evening with us and your input.
We definitely appreciate your time and consideration to, as Ben stated, to share with us on our consultants on these very important projects that that the city has underway. Just to reiterate that the funding for each of these projects are in place and are being funded through TSPLOST 1. that was approved and under the referendum of 2016. And now, just to inform you all that are still present, that TSPLOST was approved on this referendum on the past November elections. And on behalf of the City of South Fulton Public Works, I'm very happy to share with you that the percent increase on approval rate for TSPLOST at the City of South Fulton was one of the greatest increases throughout the cities of South Fulton, of Fulton County. Rusan,
Yes.
as to, we're gonna share a few things more with our community. What is the time now?
It is 7:35.
7:35. Are you in a position now to list some of the other projects that are underway for the good, for information of our residents, projects that, that are under design and others under TSPLOST? So that
And
way we can share with them a few, take this opportunity to share with them just by listing the projects, if you don't mind. And then if there's no more questions, we can cut at 7:45.
sure. Please allow me a few minutes to pull up that information.
Or Ben, if you have it in front of you, that'll be good too. We don't necessarily have to list every single thing since it was not planned out of this meeting, but as we have a few residents, it will be good to share with them the other projects that we have on the works.
All right.
Do you have it, Ben?
We got a question about, will Stacks Road Bridge be added for repair since it's been 2 years?
Yes, it will be presented for the council meeting on December 14, recommending a vendor for repairs.
Okay, let me see if I can.
I posted a link to the Public Works webpage. You have some really good information about the benefits of roundabouts and that type of stuff. I wanted to point that out to the residents. It's got a really nice picture of you on there as well.
Can we stop sharing? I'm not sure what do we see on the screen right now. Yes.
Yeah, just a few projects that we have under construction or under design is Button Road, some hotels under construction. We have projects that are under design, Button Road at Union, Button Road at Pittman, Campbellton Fairmont Road at Jones Road that we discussed earlier. Next page, please. We have Old Fairmont Road at Union as well, Stone Hotel at Union, the Stone Hotel Jones Pittman Road, and as well as the last project that Georgia DOT is managing for us, Washington Road at Roosevelt Highway. So we have a good number of projects that are coming up for your area. Thank you, Roseanne.
You're welcome.
As we're wrapping up the meeting, let's put it back on for our residents to see where they can put their comments and so on. And Ben, any numbers increasing, decreasing?
We're at 22 online. I'm not seeing any additional questions.
Oh, Ben, we may want to remind them about the meeting on Thursday night. The
That would
Buckner.
be great.
Correct. We have another meeting with one project, Butner at Pittman. We'll be presenting that project. We had gone out to the public, I guess, back in May. But we're now going, having a supplemental public information meeting, and we'll be presenting the roundabout option on Thursday night.
Just to enhance a bit more what Ben stated is that, as you all know, we just repaved Butner Road. It looks very nicely, and it will look nicer soon. But we still have lots of drivers that love to go over the posted speed limit. And we have received lots of comments on how to mitigate that speed. I think our PD department is doing a good job trying to be on the watch for those speeders. But we feel like by introducing another roundabout, it will be another way to slow down the speeders on Butner Road. So in addition to have a better intersection improvement at Butner and Stonewall Tail, I think the new location will also help out to slow down the speeders. With that said, we're getting closer to the end of the meeting. I certainly appreciate the time and consideration from each of you that attended the meeting. I want to thank you, our consultant, Mr. Frabel with American Engineers, Mr. Hale with Atlas, Ms. Abraham, as well as David, your traffic engineer, Ben Raven with Atlas Engineering, Roseanne Francois with the City of South Fulton. And it was my pleasure to be with you all tonight as your Public Works Director. I'm here to work with you all and hopefully do better things for the City of South Fulton.
We have one more question. It's from Ms. Pamela Young. It says, I understand sidewalks will be added at the new project on Gillette. How can they be added around Gillette? And so I believe the question is potentially sidewalks outside of the project limits is probably the question.
So we appreciate the question, and we're not going to say yes or nay, but that's how projects start. As residents that attend these meetings, that provide comments that we have, that we take into consideration, and the project will start with the support and the need of residents, conversing with your representatives as well as with the city. And the first step is to have the need and purpose and support for a project. And then us, Public Works, will advocate for the funding and needs of a project. And we'll bring it from a strategic point of view, from a visualization point of view, from a desire into a conceptual, and then moving from a conceptual into a design and hopefully construction of a project.
follow-up was from Ms. Young, says we use Gillette as a walking route and sometimes traffic is heavy.
Notes will taken. We will take into consideration. Our program manager, Mr. Francois, is the keeper of any request that comes up to the city with regards to any needs for transportation.
Yes.
We're down to 16, Antonio.
All right. I think it's time to say goodnight, and then we've been since early in the morning, 7 o'clock plus, and it's time for us to go back and retrieve and have a bit of relaxed time before coming back to work tomorrow. With that said, I do appreciate your time, consideration. Thank you all, and we'll be talking sometime tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.